Next game. Chelsea Man United.
We'll let you take the lead on this one, down. Me and Jim will just sit back and hear you rant about referees again. Off we go.
Well, Jim, you predicted 2-1. Al, you predicted 2-1 to Chelsea.
Yeah,
me and Kev both predicted a draw because we know how Manchester United play. It was 1-1 we both predicted, but it was 0-0 in the end.
Yep.
Either one got a goal. I don't know where to start. so many problems with Manchester United.
Do you want me to say about the pen? Do you want me to say this is the thing I wanted to talk about?
It's pen. 100% it's pen.
Right.
We don't need to talk about it. No one needs stuff to say. And if buts, we've seen pens being given like that this season. It's a penalty. My man is going like a T-Rex and lifting his arms up in the air.
Yes.
Hudson-Odoi, it's 100% penalty.
Okay.
Every
I think me and Alex.
every single Chelsea player, but it wasn't for Greenwood. No, it's for Odoi. Odoi is handball.
Right. Okay. So I think me and Alex will probably see the same issue with the pen. So yes, it's a pen because it is handball. I'm not disputing that.
This season, it's a penalty.
No, yeah, it is a penalty, but the thing I can think that the referee's seen is that Greenwood has gone to handball it as well. That's why he hasn't given it. Because if Hudson-Odoi's hand isn't there, Greenwood's handballed it. If you watch the video, Greenwood's jumped up like that to try and control it here. But that's where Hudson-Odoi's hand is. So Hudson-Odoi's hand has hit it, but Greenwood's arm is up to try and control it. That's the only reason I can. That's the only reason I think that he hasn't given it is because Greenwood's jumped up to try and control it like that, and Hudson-Odoi's grabbed his arm and it's hit his hand. That's the only reason I can think he hasn't given it.
His arm wasn't even. His hand didn't even touch his arm.
Yeah, but like that was on top of.
And when the ball dropped, Greenwood moved his arm out of the way to stop the ball from hitting his arm, so he didn't give away a free kick.
But it was gonna hit his arm. That's the thing. It was gonna hit his arm regardless.
I disagree. I don't think it was hitting Greenwood's arm. What I was gonna say was, if we're talking about what we were talking about last week in consistency, it's 100% a penalty.
Oh yeah.
But it's just clear to me that like the best way to get rid of penalties now is to just complain about it on your website before the game, and there you go. Job's good.
Oh my God.
No decisions going against you if you complain about it.
All I said is 100%. Why are people aiming at Yeah, okay, we've got the most penalties in the last 2-3 years. That's because we've got some of the quickest players in the league, and okay, some penalties. Meh.
Not some, Dow. Not some.
Bruno Fernandes. That was a penalty. That Bruno Fernandes.
I know the one you're talking about. The one where he trod on Diop's foot in the Premier League and went down like a sack of shit, and then got the penalty. It ain't a pen, but we'll agree to disagree on that one. But you have had your fair share of dubious penalties. Just like Liverpool, when they won the league, they had their fair share of dubious decisions. It's just the way it goes. And there is going to be a team every year where the decisions goes for them, and then
obviously
the decisions.
The Martial one, when who got was it Ben Raka got
sent
off Southampton?
Yeah.
Which wasn't a red card. I believe that was not a penalty as well. Martial was looking for that 100%.
Yeah.
But obviously, the reason being is we've got a lot of players with quick feet. We've got so many players with quick feet. Pogba's got quick feet. Bruno's got quick feet. James got quick feet. Greenwood's got quick feet. Rashford's got quick feet. Martial's got quick. Cavani's even got quick feet. We've got so many players with quick feet, and that is going to get clipped in the box, and it's natural. And obviously, when you get clipped as a player, you're going to go down. Even if it's the penalty or not,
I just think refs nowadays need to ref with competency and consistency.
For me, that's a penalty, and that's a 1-0 victory in my eyes. And obviously, but another problem we have for Manchester United is we've not won a top 6 side this season.
Yeah, you haven't. You haven't beaten.
You got 2 losses and 5 0-0.
You got smashed that first game you had. What was it? 6-0.
6-1 to Tottenham.
6-1 against Tottenham. That was the first Big Six team you played, and that's when Tottenham was red hot at the start of the season. You got slapped like that, and I reckon Ollie, when he got slapped, he went, "That ain't happening again against the top 6. It's not happening." And just
that was
went.
The problem.
Yeah.
When it was 0-0 draw after that.
You're scared to lose,
And
That's
then it was
the
a
issue.
1-0 loss to Arsenal, then 0-0, 0-0, 0-0,
Yeah.
0-0.
You're terrified to lose. That's your issue.
Yeah.
You-
He'd rather have a point
Yeah.
than get nothing.
Then get nothing. Which
And
you commend if you're West Brom.
Well,
But
if you're Manchester United and you're trying to fight for trophies and you're trying to close the gap between the Liverpools and Man Cities between each other, obviously Liverpool this season have had but Liverpool could easily still overtake United and go above them
Yeah.
if in the last 10 games Manchester United have won 3, drawn 6, lost 1.
Yeah,
The
sound
last
like
one
Warsaw.
fine. The last one's fine. I'm happy with the last one. It's the drawn 6 I'm not happy
Yeah.
with.
But-
That should be 3 or 2, and it should be the wins. You know what I mean? A majority of wins, not more draws than wins. I don't know. Is last season we had so many draws? I think we had one of the fewest amount of defeats last season, but because we had like 12 or 14 draws, it just put us down so far.
A good question to ask is if you're not happy with the 3 wins, 6 draws, and 1 loss, that's 15 points. Would you be more happy if it read 5 wins and 5 losses, which is also 15 points?
That's a good question. No, and I think it is 15, right?
Yep.
15. 5 wins, 5 losses. No, Al, I'm not satisfied with either, to be honest.
you need more points.
I think
You
if
You
out
need
of
to
10
be a
games,
bit more clinical,
this is
crucial, brutal.
this is how I think. If you Manchester United out of 10 games, there's 38 games in a season. Out of 10 games, you got to get the minimum 20 points, minimum. So if you do it like every step, every 10 games, and so that last 8 games, you're going to get 18 points. So that's 78 points, which could win you the Premier League if it's very tight, or you could finish second or third, depending, or maybe in fourth, depending on everyone else. Manchester United have won the league with 78, 79 points in the past. Other teams have as well.
Yeah, I think you've won it with less, maybe just.
Yeah, I think we won it with 74 as well. And I think Arsenal have as well. They've won it with 75, 76.
I think that the season you won it, where you were like 70 odd points, and it was like the least amount of points ever needed.
There you go. So you can win the league, but you can also finish second, third, and fourth. I don't think you'd finish fifth with 78 points.
I'd say it's possible though.
Nowadays it is.
It can be
Yeah.
possible. But I wouldn't. Obviously, records are being broken all the time, but yeah, that's all I got to say about Manchester United. We're too scared. Bruno Fernandes does not perform against top 6 sides. I do not know why.
A question I'll ask about that. I'll ignore Chelsea at the moment because they're playing all right against Liverpool, currently still winning. The question for Man United is, obviously you're talking to us the other day, I think Kev was as well, saying there's a rumour of one big marquee signing in the summer. And obviously the names of Sancho and Grealish get thrown around quite more often. I don't see Haaland leaving yet, but would you take Grealish or Sancho, or would you use that money to buy a striker because you need one? And if so, who?
I literally can't even name a striker. I think any player that comes to Manchester United at the minute is not going to work. It's not going to click. And I think that's down to the manager.
No, you know what? For
and
me,
also above.
you know what? For me, it's since you got rid of Lukaku, just that stigma of a striker again. Lukaku, you go back and look at Lukaku, bro, and Lukaku did. Lukaku, yeah, Lukaku was so good, and you know how much he'd thrive in your team right now, like with the Bruno.
100%.
How much he'd look at him in the Italian league. He's mincemeat in that league, and I'm like, but United forced him out because he wasn't good enough. When in actual fact, it was, as proven, the players around him to supply him that weren't good enough. You only had Pogba to supply him. You then brought Ibrahimovic, who could somewhat help him, but that didn't go to plan. Rashford was still a kid.
Problem.
Yeah, Rashford was still a kid. Martial just went off the boil completely. Like, it's one of them. Like, when Lukaku was there and when you needed it the most, you needed somebody to create for him. You didn't have it. You then sold him and went and bought a player that could create, but now you don't have that striker to finish off the creativity. And it's like, why did you sell him in the first place?
I think what we need to do is, obviously, we bought Lukaku. He was a young striker anyway. He was like, what, 23, 24 anyway when we
I
bought
think he
him.
was about 24, 25 when you got him, I think.
Yeah, when you bought him from Everton.
Yeah, so he's 24, 25. So that still classes as young these days. You know what I mean? So we bought him. We then bring in experience with Ibrahimovic. But if you look at like classic United strikers, well, for me growing up, Rooney was hella young and he was our best striker. We bought Ronaldo, but he was a winger. But obviously he got inside. We bought him when he was very young. So I think if we're going to buy a striker, we need to buy someone very young, like early 20s, like maybe up to 23, 24. The only person I think of is João Felix, but
The only thing is,
João Felix will make it in the Premier League.
Not even that. Yeah, Felix is going to cost you hundreds of millions at the
Yeah.
moment. 'Cause that's how much Atletico bought him for.
but
175 million, exactly.
but you got to look though, kid. Like, look at Rooney. He is one of a kind, but
Yeah.
he weren't just quick and skillful like he first was at Everton. He come to you and adapted his game and become an absolute brute. He could win everything in the air. He could fight people off the ball. He was consistently good and strong, and he brought everyone else into play. And then your midfield was strong. Like, you couldn't beat your midfield. It was Paul Scholes and Roy Keane sat there battling for everything. And
Yeah, I know.
And now you've got Fred, Pogba, and Bruno, and I know it's adapted, but Bruno, to be fair to him, does fight for everything. Pogba is lazy from time to time, but when you put somebody next to him that will fight as much as Bruno, he then will fight more. Pogba's never a captain player. He doesn't lead by example. His passing leads by example, but he won't. Whereas if you have players around him that lead by example with effort, he then jumps on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
And that's your issue. You don't have anybody up front that will grit, bite their teeth, fight your Rooneys, your Van Nistelrooys. Bro, who is the king of Man United? Cantona. Look at how much he used to fight on the pitch. Like, he was a dog.
And off.
That Cantona signing literally started the pivotal of success.
Yeah.
That Cantona was literally the start of success at United.
And that's what you're struggling with. You've
And
got
that's what people are comparing Bruno Fernandes. Hopefully, he's at the start of success.
But you've got to go and sign that kind of player. So you've got to sign basically, like, you're gonna have to go elsewhere. But like, obviously, your Lukaku or Icardi or Immobile or just somebody that ain't quick.
So they're all getting old now. But
Yeah.
like obviously Diagne, I'd actually love him at United. I think he'd do a quality job. And
He just needs to start scoring. That's his only
looking
issue.
at him, he's the type of striker I'd love at United with the balls that Bruno puts in, Pogba puts in. They'd love him to be on the end of it.
Mm.
And I'd love a player like that. Even Giroud. I'd love a player like Giroud at United.
Excuse
But
me,
I
Dan.
can't. Yeah, I know. I never thought I'd say it myself. The player I hate so much. I just look at him. I just want to hit him. Did he seem But obviously, I'd love someone like that at the club. Cavani, when he came, I thought the El Matador, like the experience he got, I didn't think he'd score endless amounts of goals, but he has contributed in a small factor of goals.
Yeah.
And obviously, his experience will help the younger players come through, like Shola.
Let's put it this way, bro. Like, you have your foundation now. You've got your midfield. Your midfield is set. It's Fred, Pogba, Fernandes. When they're all running, fit and running, it's Fred, Pogba, Fernandes. Fred looks good now. He looks
rotate, mate.
Yeah, but Fred looks too good at the minute. He's comfortable now. He's good on the ball and everything. The issue you've got now is your wingers. Bro,
We've got too many.
But
We've got a problem. We have too many.
You have too many, and then you don't have good enough wingers. Bro, at the minute, you're relying on Dan James again to get you out of holes. A pace merchant.
He's not getting us out of holes. That's the thing.
That's what I mean. You're relying on a player that can't do anything but run. He literally is a pace merchant, and that's your issue.
His pressing of the game is brilliant, and he puts players under pressure, and we can get a cheeky throw in or whatever. But he doesn't have the technical ability of Greenwood. But Greenwood's greedy. If Greenwood lays the ball off instead of taking the shot every single time.
For me, that's why you have to go and buy Sancho. You need a world-class winger. You have to.
Rashford's perfect on the left.
Yeah.
I don't want Martial in the middle. I don't want Martial in the club, to be honest, no more. I think his time at Manchester United is up. Last season is his best season ever in a Manchester United shirt, and he will never do better than that again. If he proves me wrong, please prove me wrong because I'd love being proved
He needs to
wrong.
go back to France.
I agree. Join Mbappe in PSG, please. Go, please. I beg. And then you can squad. You know what I mean? And like, but the thing is, and we need a striker. We need a striker, right mid. Greenwood needs competition. The only competition he's got is Dan James, but Dan James ain't really competition. Dan James is just a quick play, but he's got years left, and maybe he is a game will adapt and he'll get better probably. We got. I could speak about this for ages. We've got to move on though.